Shalom, all praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect, B'Shem Rachakodash. My name is Jacob from Plaintables camp. This is the word circumcised, and well, I'm going to get to the word circumcised. And it tells you that the converts to coming to the faith, many of them were circumcised. According to the blue letter, it tells you that they were getting circumcised. Now, contrary to popular belief, the world tells you that you don't have to get circumcised if you weren't circumcised. Now, when you go to Acts 15, it tells you that the apostles gave no such commandment, which is true. However, it was still a practice of the converts, because those were the Israelites that were getting deep into the faith, and they wanted to fully come back with the customs. But in the beginning, initially, it wasn't required to keep certain laws. All right, and Numbers 15 explains that. It tells you that they gave no such commandment to circumcision. But we have to tell the whole truth. We can't just tell part of it. Religious proselytes, which were Israelites that were coming back to the faith, many of them were getting circumcised. All right. Now, the reason why our ancestors back then became uncircumcised is because we broke the law, and the Lord drove us out from the land of Israel and from serving them because we broke the law. So this word here, we got nadak, which it means thrust. To thrust away, to be driven away, all right, to thrust out, to be banished. And that's what happened to the children of Israel, and they became uncircumcised. All right, now I got this from the Jeremiah. I think I have it highlighted. 16:15. But Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all, which is America, and from all the lands whither he hath driven them. It's H5080. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. So who's going to bring us back to the land of Israel, which our borders are going to be widened? The land of Israel right now is small because you have a heathen there. But the borders of Israel are going to be widened. All right. And we're going to inhabit other land and other planets. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. All right. So we got driven. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people, ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, saith Yahweh. All right. So you see, we were driven away and became uncircumcised. All right. So we go to the book of Acts, where it tells you about the proselytes here. Acts 2nd chapter. And these are the Israelites. It says, Pentecost. It's Acts the 2nd chapter. Now, what is noise? 2 and 5, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem the Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. All right. So everybody listed after are the Jews, the Israelites coming back to celebrate the Pentecost. All right, from the lands that they were living at. They weren't living in Israel; they were living outside of Israel. All right, and they were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Now, let's go down. So they're declaring that they're hearing the languages that they learned when they were in those lands from generations. And how hear we, these are the Jews, how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born, Parthians and Medes and Elamites and dwellers of Mesopotamia and in Judea and in Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, All right. Phrygia and Pamphylia in Egypt and in parts of Libya and Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes. All right. So these were Israelites. All right. See, it mentioned Judah again, southern kingdom again, and proselytes, which are converts to the faith. All right, which are the Jews. So it starts off with Jews, which are the Israelites, southern kingdom, and it ends with the Jews, southern kingdom, and proselytes, which are converts of the Israelites that were uncircumcised. All right, and Arabians. So Cretes. So we had Cretes, Arabians. So we have island of Greece, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so our people were scattered. All right, it actually ends with Arabians. All right, so these were the Israelites that were scattered. All right, and not all of them were uncircumcised. All right, so we're gonna go to what is a proselyte. We got proselytos. All right, one who has come over from a Gentile religion to Judaism, or from better word would be a Israelite that was uncircumcised, that was worshiping the Greco-Roman gods, those religions, or any other religion outside of the faith and law of Yahweh and the Son Yahushua, who the world calls God, Jesus Christ. So he converted from a heathen religion back to the religion of the Israelites. All right. And the religion of the Israelites would be, you could say, Christianity. All right. For lack of a better word. All right. Because the religion of the Israelites is our heritage. It's not just something that you adopt. All right. All right. So he converted, and the modern term is Judaism, which that's something different when you see how the so-called Jays worship there. They did worship out of the Kabbalah and the Talmud. Proselyte. All right, so we're gonna look up circumcision. So it's our camp video. Let's let me speak and the brother speak. Circumcision.
Yeah, so the Greek word is peritimo or peritemno, which means to cut around, cut off one's prepuce, use of that well-known rite by which not only the male children of the Israelites on the 8th day after birth, but subsequently also proselytes of righteousness were consecrated to Yahweh.
Well, he was considered a proselyte then. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, again, so wait a minute. I thought circumcision don't mean nothing. So the proselytes were getting circumcised. So read that again. That's a heavy. Yeah, even though there was the commandment, there was no commandment given to have like everybody come that's converting, back to their heritage, back to the faith. You got to get circumcised. That rule never went out. But the thing is, when they're reading the laws and the prophets, the scrolls, going out preaching, they're going to come across circumcision. They're going to come across they're going to these are they that keep the commandments, that keep the Sabbath holy. They couldn't do it perfectly, but they knew it was there and they read it. So you can't avoid reading it. So the blue letter even tells you this was a practice. I'll read it again. The brother read it. I'm gonna read it. It says here. Peritemno, which means to cut off one's prepuce. Prepuce. All right, prepuce. Foreskin, technical term for foreskin. Use of that well-known rite by which not only the male children of the Israelites on the 8th day after birth, but subsequently also the proselyte of righteousness. Proselyte of righteousness. Let me see. Is that even show up as a phrase, because he got it in quotes. It doesn't show up. Okay. So that means they've done the research and they found out that you had uncircumcised Israelites becoming circumcised, getting that foreskin cut off, because they got deep into the knowledge. All right, so they were reading, and okay, well, circumcision came up, the law kept coming up. You know what? If they're deep into the faith, they want to become close to what the Lord's law and order is. So you got circumcised, and some didn't. I believe Titus was the one that didn't, and then it doesn't say whether he ended up getting circumcised. But this is a matter of fact that converts got circumcised, and it wasn't just, there was no law, there was no order given to get circumcised. Well, why was Timothy circumcised? Timothy's a chief example. All right. On the 8th day, but subsequently also proselytes of righteousness. So if you were proselytes of righteousness, then you got circumcised. All right. Now, if you don't understand circumcision, that means you're not that deep. All right. And you wouldn't get circumcised. But if you did get deep, you got circumcised. Or consecrated to Yahweh and introduced into the number of his people. So you can't just say, Numbers Acts 15. We gave no such order, no such commandment was given. Well, that may be true. That is true. No such commandment was given. However, the proselytes were getting circumcised. It doesn't tell you the amount, but this was a practice. All right. And what does circumcision mean? Because you got to be circumcised of your mind, of your heart. All right. And then when you got deep into the knowledge, especially if you were a prophet, you got circumcised. Not everybody's on that level to understand circumcision, to want to be, it says, introduced into the number of his people. All right. So we're not just forcing this knowledge, on you. It clearly tells you this was a practice. All right, amongst the converts. All right, and Timothy was a chief example. Let me get Timothy real quick. I think that's Acts 16. Acts 16. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess and believed, but his father was a Greek. So why the hell would Paul circumcise him if he wasn't a Jew? He was. His father was just in the Greco-Roman customs. All right. And a Jew can't marry a heathen. All right. That's against the law. A woman is supposed to be given away by her father to another Israelite man. All right. Which was well reported of by the brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium. Yeah, so Timothy was an uncircumcised Israelite. All right. Him, well reported brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium, him would Paul have to go forth with him and took and circumcised him because of the Jews which were in those quarters, for they knew all that his father was a Greek. So they knew that he was uncircumcised. So how is he holding the law, the prophets, the reading the scrolls, prophesying out in the streets? He's not even circumcised. So he was getting some pressure from that. All right. Now, if Timothy didn't think it was valuable or any it was just useless, Timothy wouldn't have went through it. Paul didn't force him to do that. All right. Let me see what the circumcised word there is. 4059, I think, same one. Yep, H4059. All right. So that's just some information on a spirit that you may have not known. All right. Circumcision was a practice. This is how we know that the people that were converting, the proselytes, they were the Israelites, because this is an Israelite custom. They try to make these customs of the Israelites universal for everybody. No, these customs that are Israelites are the Israelites coming back to worship. All right. They're performing the customs that they forgot. All right. They're worshiping the high holy days that they weren't worshiping when they were scattered. All right. That's why the blue letter had to give it up. Okay. That the converts were getting circumcised. Now, it doesn't give you the number, but they were getting circumcised. That's the point. I'm giving you the whole truth, not just part of it. Oh, Acts 15, we gave no such order. Well, yeah, that's true. But the converts were getting circumcised. That's the point. All right. A few more minutes of my video, and then I'll close it out. Spirit right there.
Gone.
That proves that the circumcision was being done for the Israelites that believed in the Lord, that were uncircumcised, because that's an Israelite custom. All right, go ahead.
God, it says, cut off one's prepuce, use of that well-known rite by which not only the male children of the Israelites on the 8th day after birth, but subsequently also proselytes of righteousness were consecrated to Yahweh and introduced.
Also proves that they were keeping the law. Go ahead.
And that's introduced.
Go ahead.
God, it says, were consecrated to Yahweh and introduced into the number of his people. It also says, to give oneself circumcised, present oneself to be circumcised, receive circumcision. Since by the rite of circumcision, a man was separated from the unclean world and dedicated to the Most High.
There you go, circumcised. First you have to be circumcised in your mind. All right, your heart, you got to be circumcised. All right, and then, especially if you're a prophet, you have a high office. All right, you more so have to be more in line with the law and order and the faith, because we understand it. All right, you might have say the masses that convert back to the faith may not understand it, and they may not want to go through with it. All right, but if you on the inside, you one of the teachers, you know, you don't want to become a hypocrite. All right. So it says in C, it says, since by the rite of circumcision a man was separated from the unclean world and dedicated to the power, and thus says the word is transferred to donate the extinguishing of lust and the removal of sins. So circumcision is a good thing. All right. So I'll leave that there. You get the picture. So you got the Acts 15. It says there was no order. However, the converts were getting circumcised. So you can't just run with they didn't keep any of the laws. Well, that's not true. That is a lie, actually. All right. The laws and the prophets that's what they were reading. That's literally what they were reading to convince the Israelite foreigners, the proselytes, to come back into the faith. The laws and the prophets, what they were reading. I'll leave you with Acts 28 and 23. And when they had appointed him a day, there came many to him into his lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the kingdom of the power, persuading them concerning yet the Lord, Yahushua, both out of the law of Moses and out of the prophets, from morning till even. Okay, so you can't say the law's done away with. Nobody was getting circumcised. That's a lie. Okay? The more you read and you start looking up the definition of these words, this is why they don't want you to look up the definitions and meanings of words. They want you to keep you ignorant. All right? And they only want to show you one side. Our job is to declare unto you the whole gospel. So we give you all the sides. You had Israelites that weren't getting circumcised, converts, and you had Israelites that were getting circumcised. All right? And what they were doing was the proselytes were imitating the acts and the works of the circumcision, the ones that were right, you know. Because scriptures say, "What I'll provoke you to jealousy with a foolish nation," which were their own people that were uncircumcised. All right. So I'll leave that there. Let's see what else. All right. So that was the physical circumcision, and you also have a spiritual circumcision also. All right. Which you're circumcised spiritually before you get circumcised physically. So the proselytes were getting circumcised. All right, meaning uncircumcised Israelites. So read that account about the schoolmaster.
Galatians 3:24. It say, wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Hamashiach, that we might be justified by faith.
Right, look up schoolmaster.
So that word for schoolmaster in the Greek is paidagogos, and it says a tutor, a guardian, a guide of boys. Among the Greeks and the Romans, the name was applied to trustworthy slaves who were charged with the duty of supervising the life and morals of boys belonging to the better class.
And belonging to the better class. And I think the analogy I gave was, you don't forsake the teachings of the schoolmaster. All right? You don't forsake the teachings. All right? So you just don't get rid of, circumcision. You don't get rid of abstaining from certain foods. You don't get rid of the high holy days because you learned under the schoolmaster. All right? But now we can't get all the teachings of the schoolmaster perfect. So therefore we always say we keep the law to the best of our ability. So we do our best to just stay on track with what the schoolmaster taught us. So if we mess up, we're not bound by the teachings of the schoolmaster, and unto death we have forgiveness of sins through Yahweh Shai. All right. So if you say the schoolmaster has been totally forsaken, well, it tells you here that the religious proselytes were getting circumcised. So they did not forsake the schoolmaster. All right. It's pretty straightforward. So I hope you edified. Shalom.